We have to live that right now, y'all. We got to live it. We got to know it. Resist this system. We got to resist it. We got to resist it. We have to resist it and build our own. If we believe in race first, we move race first. We tell them, y'all can have this. You can take this. We'll take care of each other. You got to make sacrifices, family. It has to happen. It has to come a point when you say race first. Give it all up. Give them their world back. Let's get back to us. Let's get back to the village. Let's get back to who we are. They can have that. So peace and love, family. Peace and love.
Y'all come on, clap it up one more again. Come on. So, I neglected, again, dereliction of duty. I neglected to say that each presenter have 5 to 7 minutes. Right.
Can't stop the speed.
Right. And it didn't seem like nobody else minds, so and plus I'm not one for snatching mics. But in any event, family, because we do want to respect the time, we want to try to keep the presentation to no more than 10 minutes, maybe 12 to 13 minutes. And I left my official time clock up here, so I really didn't know what time or how long she had been up here. It only felt like a minute or two to me. So
6 minutes.
All right, 6 minutes. All right, so with that, family, y'all give that Sister Queen another strong round of applause. We appreciate that message because, this society got, where Mama D at? She haven't made it back yet? Mama D is quick to remind us that how dare these people, including the Congressional Black Congress, or caucus, or whoever they are, to put other ethnic groups in line in front of us. Who are we talking about specifically? The Hispanic community. You got black folk on the back for Hispanic folk for work and doing things that they ain't even did for black folk yet. They don't put them straight in front of the line. Why? Because they have no sense of what the sister just got done talking about, race first and responsibility to the race. And then these other people are running around teaching our children to embrace everybody and everything before the race. We got to stop that, family. We'll never get to where we need to be if everybody else is teaching us to put everybody else in front of us. And it ain't no crime. How many people was over that Dr. Thompson thing again? When they read the paper that said that this event is strictly reserved for African people, how many heard the applause in the auditorium? The elders, because that's what mostly they are, elders and nation builders, if you will, was ecstatic that we put that out there. The people, y'all, is ready to hear the idea of race first. Stop swallowing when you say race first. Stand boldly that as a race first man, as a race first woman, I think this. You got to walk in that. You got to talk in that. You got to be about that. Y'all give that sister another strong round of applause. Come on, clap it up. Much appreciation. Next on your program, we have listed Minister Rahim Atan, which is not able to be with us today. But Brother Taharka is here with us today. Joshua is doing this. I got it mixed up. Yes. And then, okay. So my apologies. So Brother Joshua Atan is going to talk about internal reparations. If you would, Baba, come on up. Y'all welcome him with a strong round of applause. Come on, clap it up. Let's make some noise.
Good evening, family. How's everybody doing?
Good evening.
I just want to begin by saying, in the name of the everlasting Father, He that causes all that exists to exist, He that is self-existent, He who directs the sunships of millions and trillions of years, and He who's made time the seed of the universe. He's known among the ancient Kemites or the indigenous people of Africa as Amon-Ra and Aten, among the Hebrews as Ansof, Yahweh, and Elohim, among the Christians as Lord God and Jehovah, and among the Muslim and the Islamic world as Allah, the one God. But I bear witness that all of these names refer to the same, one Almighty God, and it is to Him and Him alone that I give reverence and to whom I submit. I greet you, my brothers and sisters, in the ancient but yet holy words of peace, which are Hotep, Shalom,
Shalom,
Assalamu alaikum,
Wa alaikum salam,
Barakati, Alafia, And Ashe. And if you grew up on the south side of Chicago on 79th Street where I grew up, what's up?
What up?
My task today has been to talk about internal reparations. I don't know how many are familiar with Mata. Remember Mata, the people who moved into business? Well, Mata was an organization that was created to, as we like to say, put the hole in the bucket to sew it up. Because there's two forms of reparations. External reparations is what they owe us. That's what we worked for. That's what we built this country off of. That's what we'll do. They wrote a check and it came back insufficient funds. So we didn't get everything that we were supposed to get based on that arrangement of slavery. Internal reparations is what you can do for yourself. If we already get $1 trillion a year right now today, and we don't own one black grocery store, what good is reparations?
Oh, there you go.
What you gonna do with it? You ain't doing nothing with the trillion right now. You spending it on everybody else but you. We got the black mall in the house. They got all of these black products. Are you still wiping your behind with Scott tissue? If you are, I hope it start itching and give you a really bad rash.
All right now.
Are you still washing your clothes with Tide laundry detergent? No. If you are, I hope you break out with a rash and your kids' eczema never go away.
Come on, Pat. Go ahead, man.
Because you got black home laundry detergent that creates about 17 jobs. See, y'all think it's about buying product just because you look like me.
Thanks.
No, it's about buying product from somebody that's going to do something for your community, that's going to create jobs, that has a race-first philosophy that says, I'm not hiring Hispanics. Y'all think there's something wrong with them. Ain't nothing wrong with them. Something wrong with us. Because they can open up in our community a 24-hour stand right outside of a vacant lot at a house on 72nd and Damon that sell dollar tacos 24/7.
Yes, sir.
And we'll stand in line all night long and support it.
Yeah.
Black women can't make fried chicken no more. We don't do fish fries no more. Other ethnic groups sell more fish, more chicken in our communities than everybody else, but why we don't? Because there's something wrong with us. Professor Cieng said that we were taught to hate everything African about us. And so as soon as we have a bad experience with one of us, guess what? I ain't shopping in nobody's black business. It don't matter what it is. We go to McDonald's, McDonald's can treat us any old kind of way. We're going to stand in line, we're going to fuss, we're going to complain, but we still going to buy that food. But let a black person or that McDonald's be a black-owned McDonald's, you ain't never coming back again. The guy who do mufflers that's black, you ain't doing business with him no more. The sister that's selling shea butter, I ain't buying her shea butter because you think there's something wrong with us. Every time you have a bad experience with us. But that's by design. And that's why the race-first philosophy got to give us the love for ourselves back. So that we can want to spend our money with each other. So if we have a problem with each other, rather than boycotting us and picketing us and not spending no more money with us, that we come to each other as brothers and sisters and say, hey, what's going on, brother? You know, that t-shirt had a hole in it. You know, how can we fix that? Not put the person out of business, but support that person. This is the community. And so Ken Bridges created this alternative channel of distribution because, see, we got to take over market share in our community. That's right. Right? I can tell you who control, if I just start naming stuff, you can tell me what ethnic group control that. If I said Italianites, who y'all gonna think control that? Italian. If I say pizza, if I say tacos, it's an ethnic group connected to everything. I say black folks, y'all say soul food, but we don't sell it to each other. It's a problem with that. We in America don't have not one black-owned grocery store. Not one. You know, they used to be in our communities with food and liquor stores. Have y'all noticed they moved the food out the way and now it's just wine and spirit?
Yes, sir.
That's by design. But there's a city ordinance that says a liquor store can't be within 500 feet of a school. Well, I can show you a bunch of liquor stores in my community that's right next door to the daycare.
Yes, sir.
So why do your children have to go in a liquor store before they go to school to get their potato chips and blue juice and flaming hot nachos and all that madness that they shouldn't be eating no way? But why do they have to go in a liquor store to get it? Y'all ever been in a liquor store in Wicker Park? Huh? You never been to one? Ain't it a little different? Do you notice that no children can even come in the building?
That's right.
Do you notice that there's no light up sign outside promoting the alcohol? Did you notice that the building is not painted with all the alcohol brands and everything else? Did you notice that it's just a place that says beverage? It don't say wine and spirit.
No,
it say
beverage.
beverage
Yes,
depot.
Yes, sir.
But you can go in there and buy all the alcohol you want to buy, but the children in that neighborhood don't know that that's alcohol. Because in their community, they have bars, mostly. Not liquor stores. We got one on every corner. Every corner. And we know that 87% of all crime in our community is committed under the influence of alcohol.
Yes, sir.
93% of all homicides committed in our community is under the influence of alcohol. Yeah, we talk about drugs. Everybody want to jump on drugs and beat drugs up. Drugs is bad, but alcohol is the gateway to the drug.
Sir.
Our kids don't just start smoking weed and popping pills. They got to drink something first to get that courage.
Yes, sir.
They don't just go get a gun and pull the trigger without having some courage. So we know it's something that they putting in the alcohol to make our children act like that. Right. But what we got to do with this internal reparations is fix the bucket. We got to start circulating that money among us and take over a market share. There's no reason why we can't unite on toilet paper.
Yes, sir.
You blow your nose with it, you wipe with it. I mean, come on. We can't unite on toilet paper, laundry detergent, the same toothpaste. We can't have a black toothbrush company that service our people.
Yes, sir.
87% of all Tide sales come from us. Because other ethnic groups know about race first. They got their own. Right. Y'all ever been to the Walmart in the Mexican neighborhood? You notice they got their own section in there?
They sure do.
Do you notice that they also have a community benefit agreement that every money, every bit of dollars that's made out of that Walmart come back to that organization or somebody in that community? Where's our community benefit agreement? We don't have one. All we get is no cards when we come in, a long line, 2 cashiers, and 20 aisles open, right?
Yes, sir.
But if we circulated our money, we can create jobs. See, products and buying black is just one thing. But you got to buy black with somebody that care about the community.
Yes,
that's why I love the Black Mall, because they care about the community.
Yes, sir.
And they don't just tell you to buy black from them so they can go downtown and buy a Lexus and a Mercedes and live in the white folks' neighborhood. Yes, they say buy black so I can do what? Buy black some more. Because everything I'm selling comes from somebody that looks like us, and these companies need us. We shouldn't have to beg you to buy our products and services. We should have to beg you to buy our toilet paper. We should have to beg you to get the laundry detergent. Race first is an action agenda. It ain't just saying it. And if it's race first, then you ought to be acting your butt to buy toilet paper. Ain't no question about that.
Yes, sir.
You shouldn't be asking a question about how many rows is it? Is it conducive to Scott? Is it septic? Is it going to clog up my toilet bowl? You ain't asked none of them questions when you bought that crap from Jewel. Y'all know I'm not telling the truth.
No survey.
Y'all ain't do no survey.
Yes,
you ain't say give me a sample.
None of that.
You ain't say can I taste it. You ain't do none of that. You just took it.
Swipe.
Took it home and used it.
Yes, sir.
And so when we begin to circulate this $1 trillion, then we can create the necessary jobs. Dr. Webb Evans used to say it's a shame that we should have to grow our children up to go to some other race that don't look like them, to ask and beg them for a job when we can create the jobs for ourselves.
Yes, sir. That's
Why
right.
can't we create jobs? Why should he have to grow up and look to go work for somebody else's company? Why we got to keep telling that lie to go to school to get a good education so you can get a good job, work 40 years, 40 hours a week, and then retire off of 40% of what you couldn't live off of while you was working?
Exactly.
Why do we have to keep telling our children that? We have to instill in our children race first. And ain't nothing wrong with that. And I'm sorry, the Temple of Mercy Association, we're a little different. Our race first started in America, North America to be specific.
Yes, sir.
The ghettos of North America.
Yes, sir.
Because we got some issues in the ghettos.
Yes, sir.
You know, I love the Africans that love me back.
Right.
There's some of them on the north side that don't love us.
They don't.
I love
And
our
they
Islamic
ask
brothers and sisters, but there's some Islamic people in our community that don't give a damn about us.
They don't.
So my Islam is race first. I ain't dealing with no Arab and no turban coming in my community, and I read the Quran and they say they shouldn't touch alcohol and pork, and they got liquor stores and selling pork and prostituting little girls and doing all kind of stuff in the community.
Tell that.
Yeah, they made a deal with the gangs in the community. They done bought the gangs. I want y'all to know that.
Oh yeah.
All y'all elders that keep saying it ain't no structure because they locked up Jeff, they locked up Larry, they locked up David. David got killed, Chairman got killed, Dr. King got killed. Is not the truth. The Arab has come in and bought the seat at the table. He is the new Khalifa in our community.
That's right.
If you want to know where he at, go find the wine and liquor stores in our community, and that's where you'll find him.
Yes, sir.
You want to know where the guns are being sold? You want to know where the guns are coming from, the drugs and everything else? It's because he took over market share in our community. So we got to get back to internal reparations. We got to get back to feeding ourselves, number one. Hallelujah. Somebody say, feed ourselves.
Feed ourselves.
Ain't y'all tired of food for less? And it ain't the price that's less, it's the value of the food.
What else they got?
Ain't y'all ever noticed as soon as you buy it, if you don't use it that day, 2-3 days later, it's spoiled? Ain't y'all tired of driving all the way to Country Club Hills just to get fresh fruit? Or am I the only one that do that? Or Hyde Park or Pete's on 95th Street because the Mexicans got a co-op of that and they own it. And all the produce that's being sold in that restaurant,
Yes, sir.
I mean in that grocery store, is coming from their farm.
It is.
But we got Pembroke, but we don't want to go support the black farmers. We don't want to eat them string beans because they taste like dirt. No, they just ain't got no pesticides in them. You done got so used to the poison, we give you something fresh, you think something wrong with it.
Yes, sir.
You eat a green pepper, it got some real kick to it. You like, my green peppers don't be tasting like that.
It's too high.
This thing gave me indigestion. I was in the bathroom too long. I'm not buying that no more. It's supposed to do that. So we got to get back to this race first, y'all. We got to get back to what we going to do with the $1 trillion we already get. Because if we can solve that problem, then if they ever give us a reparations, we'll keep it. Because if I was a white man, I'll be honest. I'll give y'all reparations on Black Friday.
Yes, sir.
I'll give every man, woman, and child a couple of $100,000 on Black Friday, and I promise you by the first of the year, he'll have 93% of it back. Because he already get 93% of the $1 trillion because we don't own nothing. So how we gonna keep the money and take advantage of it?
Yes, sir.
How's it gonna circulate like Black Wall Street? He'll get it all back. The white man is slow. I'd have been giving y'all reparations. Right before Christmas, right after Thanksgiving, right around Kwanzaa time, I'd have got all y'all. All you conscious folks would have got y'all for Kwanzaa. All you other folks would have got it for Christmas. I'd have gave it out Mother's Day, Easter, you know,
all that.
and I'd have got all my money back.
Yeah, right back.
Because we give it all back to them. It takes 4 hours for the dollar to leave our community. Ain't that a shame? All right, y'all. I just want y'all to know that reparations is important. But please, let's start with the internal reparations. So when we get the external reparations, then we can keep it and we'll benefit from it. That's my time, y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Y'all come on, give them another strong round of applause. My brother said it's time to change the tide. That's a punch. Y'all didn't get it? Time to change the tide? Never mind. Okay. Just real quick. Right. Real quick. How many people in here get lawn care service? Raise your hand. I'm asking you to raise your hand now.
Yes.
Now, I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand now. And then ask yourself, all of these good black people, and look, you got black folk that can afford lawn care service. I'm impressed. But in real life, there's nothing more that I don't understand than somebody other than African people doing African yard. That is one of the, what I want to say, one of the menial jobs that you can find an African to do. There go Mama D. But you know what I'm saying? And you ain't even got an African to do it?
Yes, we do.
How did that work? How did that happen? So y'all give our brother another strong round of applause. Come on, clap it up. My brother said he'll give y'all money on Black Friday and he'll have it back on what they will start calling White Tuesday. That's exactly right. The Queen's sister from the Panthers was talking about military. I just want to put it out here now. That Baba Hannibal used to tell us that revolutionary will without revolutionary skills will get you revolutionary killed. Let me say it again. Revolutionary will without revolutionary skills will get you revolutionary killed. And so if you're thinking any aspect of physical confrontation with anybody, you better make sure that you have the skill set to contend with it. That being the first thing. The second thing is that anything that you build, as I heard her say, if you don't have a standing military to protect it, they will take it away from you. Anything, I don't care what it is. If you cannot defend it, then you ain't got it.
Facts.
Everybody with me? You have it in a, what they would probably call a pseudo state. Everybody with me?
Yes, sir.
Because you really ain't got it. You only got it until they come and take it from you because you can't stop them from taking it. Right, Cam? You talk about power. If you don't have the power to stop them, if you don't have the power to or the power over, you can't do nothing. You ain't got no real power. So with that, I just want to let you know I'm a firearms instructor. If anybody's interested or looking for firearms training or concealed carry, see me. We do firearms training on a very high level. And so just know that this ain't no joke. Everybody with me?
Hey, Mbog.
Last thing I want to say about this brother's presentation is that he said that this brother should not have to go to somebody else and get a job. And when we send our children to somebody else to get a job, what do we tell them about being in school? They got to be what? Twice as what?
Twice as good.
Look at how well we know that. That the black person got to be twice as good. We all know that. We all kind of said that in unison. Twice as good as their white counterpart to do what? Go to white work for a white person. Why? Because we don't create businesses for ourselves. How mad is it to be twice as good as somebody and then go and offer your services to them?
Messed up.
Think about it, family. You train your child to be twice as good to go and work for somebody else. That's close to sickening. I didn't want to say that. All right, family, we're going to move on. And so y'all give him one more strong round of applause, brother. That was a beautiful message. And y'all don't forget, what was his name?
Cieng Bridges.
Ken Bridges was killed by how? Not you.
Ooh.
And not you. Oh, ooh. That brother like he was in school. He said, ooh. How did Ken Bridges die? No. And not you, Black Mom, Cassiopeia. And not you, Randy. No.
So then who?
Somebody, right. And probably not Cam. Somebody else.
You got one right there.
No, and not you. None of y'all. But in real life, family, we should all know and remember that that brother, Ken Bridges, got killed by the DC sniper. What perfectly timing that was. But that brother was making some serious revolutionary moves financially with my top.
That's right.
If y'all remember that. And so I don't believe that it was by coincidence that brother was then killed during that time. I would even, because I know America, contend, and I see you, brother, I would even contend that brother assassination was the reason behind all of the rest of the murders.
It was.
It's easier to hide a needle in a pile of other needles.
Yes.
Everybody with me?
Yes,
This brother looked like he had something to say. I want to make sure he said and give up.
I just want to let y'all know that it wasn't a conspiracy. They didn't just kill Ken Bridges. They killed the CFO of the company.
Yes.
He wound up, they said, committing suicide, starting his car in the garage. They killed the investor that put all the money into the company. And they also killed the secretary. So it wasn't just Ken that died. He just got the most publicity because of what he did. And see, further history, they were the ones that created the power products. The Nation of Islam was doing.
That's right.
Right, and so they couldn't get along with them because of the religious differences. He wanted to be a revolutionary and Pan-Africanist, and they wanted to be Islam and kept bringing that Arab culture into the thing. So that relationship didn't work. So, one of the things that we got to do is be race first. If you just say race first, you ain't got to worry about what come after that. You can be Muslim, Hebrew, Jehovah's Witness. I don't care. If it's race first, then we okay. Not your religion first. Race first, because your religion ain't yours. And we ain't got to get into that debate, but it got to be race first. So it was strategically done. So we know it works. We know it works, and we know he was on to something because he was he was one of the top diamond earners in Amway. And so he knew what he was doing. They were also the creators of what we see when we go to the mosque. You know how Minister Farrakhan finished speaking and he run in the back and the high-speed dub your tapes?
Yes.
He created that system. So it's a lot of stuff that he had done before the montage that led up to that. But if we can recreate that, not if, but when we recreate that, we'll be well on our way to funding our own liberation, funding our own army, funding our own race, and putting our babies to work. Because you can't have all of us in the community doing community work, and then we got to stop doing community work because, I'm sorry, I got to go make some money now. I got to go to a job and work 8 to 10 hours, or I got to go babysit. How you going to be a revolutionary and you working for the white man?
I'm trying to.
Facts.
I hope I ain't step on nobody's toes, but if I did, put some big shoes on.
What they say, if the shoe fit, Change it.
Back.
You can quote me on that. That's a new in my liberation. Brother, I was not aware of his entire team perishing like that. See, you can't have all of that death around and then it be coincidental. It can't happen that way. Everybody good?
Yes, sir.
Do a love check. Where Cassiopeia at? What Baba Quasi used to say, love check. Everybody good? Yes, yes. All right, so with that, we're going to move further into the, and what's the status of the food? Because I don't know about nobody else, I'm getting hungry. Anybody getting hungry? I done got hungry. All right. So we're going to move into external reparations. Brother Cam Howard of Cobra. Y'all welcome the brother with a strong round of applause. Our reparations ambassador.
Hotel family. Before I begin, I just want to bring up two things that came to me. One on my way over here, and before I came here. Another one that I've been thinking about for a long time, but was reinforced again today. The first one is perhaps that the UNIAACL can create a resolution to alter the ode to the black, red, black, and green. At the time it was written, there were 400 million Africans on the planet. We know that just with Nigeria, Brazil, America, and Colombia, there's 400 million Africans. So what about the rest of the Africans? So I'm suggesting that through the education department and the UNIA that they upgrade the UNIA to be 1 billion plus faculty. And that's something that can come out of the Chicago division. Secondly, Nubian mentioned that when this program was announced at the Sovereign Museum, it said it was for Africans only. And in the audience of nationalists, that's very easy to digest.
Yeah.
But not all of our people are nationalists. And as we try to win our people over to the revolution, over to nationalism, we can't make it difficult for them to come aboard.
That's right.
And so what I would suggest, and here on this paper announcing the 48-hour emergency preparedness course, it also says that this training is culturally based and reserved for those of African Black descent. And I understand that too, as a nationalist. I'm totally in agreement with that. But I would suggest that we use language that is in line with international norms, says the same thing, and also be inviting to all of our people at the same time. And I suggest that we use the term people of African descent. Because people of African descent is an international recognized designation for all people who reside outside of the continent of Africa, who was brought here, whose ancestors was brought here forcefully through the transatlantic slave trade. And so no matter whether you're in Brazil or you're in Colombia, you're in Mexico, you're in Europe, you're in America, if you have an ancestor that was extracted from the continent through that period of the transatlantic slave trade, you are a person of African descent. And we can clearly say that this is a person, or this is an activity reserved for people of African descent, because it's in international terms. And the UN has designated January 1st, 2014 to December 31st, 2024 as the International Decade of People of African Descent. So we can say all of our programs in our community, whether we present it as nationalists or otherwise, we can say we're honoring the International Decade. That's right? We're in line with this decade that has been determined under the theme Recognition, Justice, and Development, and thereby saying, because what we're trying to do in the reparations movement is also utilize this term, people of African descent. So we be clear that we're excluding folks who have not came through this particular lineage in history. So having said that, let me talk about reparations, external reparations. June 19th of this year, on Juneteenth, there was a hearing in Washington, D.C. on H.R. 40. H.R. 40 is the historic piece of legislation that has been introduced since 1989 to create a commission initially to study reparations people African study reparations for African Americans. It was revised in 2017 to be a legislation that will create a commission to study and develop reparation proposals for African Americans. That's what it's called. We revised that legislation. I had a large part in rewriting the legislation to make it a remedy bill as opposed to a study bill. And it's centered around 5 international norms or outcomes for reparations. Under international law, there's a lot of law internationally around reparations. In America, they want you to think that they don't know nothing about reparations. What is it? I think Bernie Sanders said, what is it? What does it mean? As a Jew, you don't know what it means? You know, right. So, but there's a lot of law. And under international law, reparations, quote, must wipe out all consequences, unquote, of the acts that were committed, of the crimes that were committed. And we call the transatlantic slave trade slavery apartheid. Apartheid was known as Jim Crow segregation here in America, but it was apartheid as separation backed by the violence force of the state. Internationally, they are now designated and declared as crimes against humanity. So we can say every aspect of African life in this country during the period of enslavement and Jim Crow were criminal acts against our people. Right? And that's how we define it. We don't define it as, they want to define it as some America's original sin, some moral behavior that was not right. No, it was more than immoral, it was criminal.
That's right. That's right.
At the hearing, I went to the hearing because I wanted to hear the opposition. What white folks were saying at the highest level of government was saying why they had some opposition or pushback to the reparations movement, to the reparations of people Africans in this country. And there were 3 primary reasons that the congressperson on the Judiciary Committee stated. And as a thinker, warrior, thinker, scholar, wannabe scholar, whatever, people call me a master teacher in some places,
Without question.
whatever, I wanted to be able to have a response, a well thought out response to every challenge white folks bring.
Yes.
But why they're not going to push the needle toward repair of African people in this country. So one of the things that was stated, and I'm going to have to speed this up, was that no one was alive who injured African people who were enslavers.
Oh, they need to stop.
Well,
They need to stop.
But let's go with that, because we got a response. We want to give thanks to our Moorish American brothers and sisters who first taught us that America is a corporation. Is that right?
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, under business law, a corporation is a legal person.
Yeah.
I presented this argument at our conference in June in Milwaukee, in Detroit, and a group of lawyers, so I'm going to share, were like in awe because they hadn't thought of it. Well, a corporation, I'm a business MBA, business school graduate, businessman for 20 plus to 25 plus years, but a corporation is a legal person. The only way a corporation dies is through resolution. The corporation, they have a resolution, we're going to kill this corporation, we're going to end this corporation, or through some procedural matter where they don't file the right paperwork, or through bankruptcy. Other than that, a corporation lives into perpetuity. America is a corporation that's still alive today. We know where they live. The seat of its government is 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, the Capitol Hill and all that. We know where to find them. Not only was America a corporation, but America had 13 predecessor corporations. We hear about what is called the 13 colonies. Each one of those colonies were chartered corporations from England, from
George III.
From England, France, because the French chartered the colonies up the Mississippi. From England, France, it wasn't
Portugal, Spain, and Portugal.
Portugal and Spain, but they were down basically in South America and in the islands. Sweden was also one of the corporations that gave a corporate charter. So technically, those people, the persons were those 13 original corporate charters, and the current person that enslaved our ancestors is still alive.
Facts.
Technically.
Facts.
And we know that the corporations, since the 14th Amendment was enacted, corporations have benefited more from the 14th Amendment than people of African descent, and when it was written for us. So we know that this country recognizes corporations as legal persons in law. So we can make that particular argument. Shut them down. The second thing that they stated was that there's no one alive today who was injured during enslavement. Again, we look to science as part of the race first African fundamentalist philosophy. Is we have to be scientists par excellence, as Garvey stated. We can look to science and show that there is a term called transgenerational epigenetics.
That's right.
And transgenerational epigenetics is a term that has been used to show that how genes have been altered through trauma.
Yes.
And that altered gene is passed down generationally.
That's right.
They came to this understanding by looking at third descendant Jewish survivors of the Holocaust, whose grandparents experienced the Holocaust. They had higher rates of illnesses, higher rates of heart attack, higher rates of stroke, higher rates of hypertension than their peers whose grandparents didn't go through the Holocaust. And they traced that to an altered gene that was a result of the 6 years of trauma that their grandparents experienced. We've experienced 400 years of uninterrupted trauma. When you look at, as a brother here in Chicago called Dr. Kenneth Nave, who first introduced me to this idea of transgenerational epigenetics about 7 years ago, he says that he believes it is the accumulation of trauma that has our young brothers and sisters killing each other the way they are.
Yes. All right.
I don't know, and that's kind of one of those things you want to be careful about. But we need to know.
That's right.
And we're not going to know unless we have some resources directed to that. And so when they say no one's alive who was injured in enslavement, the damn lie. My genes prove that I've been injured. I'm alive, I'm breathing, and my genes have been altered. My ancestors' genes have been altered. They passed that defective gene down to me. So they have no legitimate legal argument against the repair of our people. It is all racist. Racism is the only reason, and we had to make that plain and clear. Now, as I'm getting ready to move off the stage, I want to talk about what's happening here in Chicago. About 3 weeks ago, a press conference was held at a church on the south side of Chicago. Businessman Dr. Willie Wilson called the press conference. He had many politicians there, religious leaders, community leaders. I was told by Dr. Conrad Worrell to go to that press conference. And at that press conference, Dr. Willie Wilson announced that he was jumping into the reparations movement. And he had an alderman and a state senator and a state representative saying that they would introduce legislation on behalf of Willie Wilson, reparations legislation in the city council and in the state assembly. And this is a good thing. It's a good thing because clearly Illinois is guilty of crimes committed against African people. The first 2 governors in Illinois were enslavers. And we know about all the other things, some of the other things the state has done. And the city of Chicago was founded by an African, a person of African descent. He was a fur trader, had a 3-state business, and was ran out of the city that he founded by these criminals. Same criminal behavior that's hurting our children today. And we can go through the Chicago history. This is the 100th year of the race riot, the 60th, the 50th year of the murder of assassination of Chairman Fred Hampton, all this other, they took part. There was a study that came out about 4 months ago that says during 1950 and 1970, the city stole $750 million from us during the housing industry. That is $4 to $6 billion today in today's money. We lost from 2005 to 2012, 2007 to 2012, $200 million in equity. 60% of all the wealth it took us 130 years to create, we lost in just 5 minutes. It was raped from us in just 5 years. Chicago being the third largest black housing market, of that $200 billion, certainly we can easily say 20, 30 billion was robbed from us in the city of Chicago.
Big facts.
When you look at our communities, you cannot have a community without home ownership. You're not going to have it. You have to have people invested in the community to have home ownership. I mean, to have a community. So yeah, I'm not going to stay up here any longer. I'm just saying, but this issue around Chicago and reparations and Illinois reparations is a big issue. Chicago has known to be a leader in this issue nationwide, and we're going to do so with these two commissions. The bills that was written, don't quite like it. It's more of a poverty bill as opposed to a reparations bill, but the brother who was charged to write it, myself and Alderman Sawyer, Dr. Conrad Worrell, we agreed that it should be a rewrite. I'm working on a rewrite now. And I've submitted the first draft to Dr. Worrell. We're going to look at it before we submit it to Alderman Sawyer. And it's crafted after the international norms on what reparations should do for people of African descent whenever they engage in these type of criminal acts and injuries that have resulted. And so we're looking for a slogan. We're coming out with Make the Demand. Black reparations now. We want to try to get that out. Make the demand. Black reparations now. Why make the demand, Brother Newman? Why make the demand? We know that, I don't know what president, some people said it was Johnson, some people said it was Roosevelt, that when blacks went to them and said they wanted these type of civil rights bills put into place, he said, make me do it.
That was Johnson.
That was Johnson. Some people say it was Roosevelt's too. Some people might have been both. Yeah. We know that one of the white presidents said, make me do it.
Obama just recently said it.
He just said it too. He did say it. And then we know that Frederick Douglass says, power concedes nothing
Without a struggle.
without a demand. Never has and never will. So when we say make the demand, we're saying we must make these folks do what we want them to do, and we're coming with a demand. Because we are going for power. Right? Behind what we're talking about is power. Well, you ain't talking about power, as Newman said, and my brother said, everything that we get will be given back. So make the demand. 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 Reparations now. Reparations now.
That's great.
Now come on, clap it up, clap it up. Y'all clap it up one more again. Come on, make some noise. And I would say, if anybody have had an opportunity to study with Cam, the brother's a master teacher. The brother is truly a master teacher. I've sat at the feet of several masters, Dr. Anderson Thompson, Baba Jacob Carruthers, and my primary training elder, M.Z. Baba Hannibal Afri. And when I sit at this man's feet, I know what I'm talking about, that the brother is a master teacher. Y'all give him another strong round of applause. And we'll have to have a conversation about what a master teacher look like, so we'll know him when we see him. Yebo? Yebo. Yebo. So how many of y'all support reparations? How many of y'all doing reparation work? A lot less hands, but watch this. How many of y'all doing like after school work? How many of y'all doing gang prevention work? How many of y'all doing drug addiction work? How many of y'all doing abused mothers and children? How many of y'all doing anything to uplift black people? See, you don't know, but you're doing reparations work. You're doing reparations work. And so one of the things that we was trying to do a few years ago was to get everybody to understand that the work that you was doing to correct the conditions inside of your community need to be filed under the ideal of repair. Repair of what? The injury. Because we know that if we wasn't subjected to the institution of slavery, then many of the things that exist inside of our community, we wouldn't have to work on. Is everybody with me? Yeah. So you need to know that that's reparations work you're doing. However, it alone is not the reparations work we need you to do. And so we really need, Cam, do you have any applications or any additional information about y'all meeting or anything?
We meet every fourth Sunday from hours of 2 to 4 p.m. in Washington Park Fieldhouse, 5531 South.
Every fourth Sunday.
Every fourth Sunday, Washington Park Fieldhouse.
Y'all hear him? Washington House Fieldhouse. Washington Park Fieldhouse. I'm from the west side, y'all. That's right.
5531 South King Drive. Also, I forgot to say that on September 18th, Dr. Willie Wilson, Rod Sawyer, actually, Alderman Sawyer, is going to present the legislation. We're trying to mobilize about 5,000 people to be there, 9 a.m., September 18th. So the organizations that are in this room, city council organizations that are in this room, represented here, we will want to talk to you and see how we can all organize it. 9 and 5. The 2 to 4 p.m. every fourth Sunday.
That's right. Any Garveyites up in here? A few of them. It's a few Garveyites up in here. It becomes much easier to make sure that we're having this race conversation when race people join the conversation.
That's right.
Everybody with me? We got to be able to be in that room and in those other people's ear. Cam and Conrad and the others cannot be the only people that's in their ear. When they talk about mobilizing 5,000, one of the challenges, family, and I'm going to try to get out the way as quick as possible, one of the challenges with reparations or any mass movement of that nature that you're dealing with somebody else that you're putting demands on then determines who they bring to the table to deal with the demands through. They can X them out at any time they want to per the conversation and bring some Negro from 20 years ago in, i.e. some white woman that's running for president now. That brags on writing a book about reparations 20 years ago. And every time she says something, she this afterwards. I personally think she's a cocaine addict, but that's just my personal. That's just an opinion. Hopefully I can't get sued for that. But, and see what that's like to get something out of nothing. But so family, in real life, they can then bring these people to the table to have this conversation about reparations. And then what do? But if we show up 5,000 strong, they know that we can put numbers in the street. They know that we can wreak havoc on the communities that they occupy.